hope you're having a good day. Today we are talking about next turn. Last video we talked about the, last video was next turn. This video is start turn. How exciting. We're actually starting our turn. Super exciting stuff. And this is in the JRPG Combat System, which is a classic turn-based combat system. It is a suite of functionality that allows you to focus on other aspects of your game, giving you a finished part of your game that is the combat system, letting you implement it into existing projects relatively easily using interfaces and such. In this series, I'm detailing the entire combat system for the purpose of letting you learn it, potentially modify it to suit your needs, or you could even build it yourself if you follow along and take screenshots and copy what I have. You're free to do that. You can always buy it on the Unreal Marketplace. Link is in the description. Obviously, you're free to follow along, build it yourself. No purchase necessary. So let's get into it. So we're talking about the start turn. At this point, the turn charges have been increased until someone is greater than 1 in those turn charges. Then they are set as the current actor on the driver. And now we go into start turn. One of the first things we're going to do, aside from these diagnostics bookends, we are going to unlock in turn, which is some flow control. All this event does is down here on in turn, we have a do once macro. And this just unlocks it so that in turn can be triggered again. Again, this is flow control. There are going to be a lot of different parts moving, and this just prevents any weird funkiness from happening. Okay, so that's the unlock in turn. So the first thing we're going to do is unlock that so that we can end the turn later. Then we're going to check if our current actor is valid. Should be, because we just picked it, but we're going to make sure. It's always a good idea to make sure. And if not valid, we're just going to end the turn. If it is valid, we're taking that variable, the current actor, and we're alerting their effects to start turn. This is that blueprint interface I covered a few videos ago, and this just cycles through all the effects on them that would trigger something on start turn and says, hey, do your thing. Okay? And then we're checking, can they act? Are they incapacitated in some way? Is that can act flag set to true? If so, we're continuing. If it's not, we are ending our turn. Now, here's where we check if the current actor is a player party or not. If they are, we are prompting for action. Now, there's going to be a lot of UI talk in this video. We're going to cover UI next video. So I'm going to briefly touch on it here, more details in the next video on UI. But let's talk about prompt for action. All this does is show the command window using this function, UI show command window. That's all it's doing. We'll cover in more detail at a later video. Now, if it's an AI, we're going to do a cosmetic delay, the wait brief, cosmetic delay, and then perform this function called AI action. This is where you would put your logic on how you want the AI to act. There's a lot more complexity that can be here, that can be brought in here, depending on what you're doing, what you're making. This is what I would consider the simplest implementation of an AI possible, just to provide you with sort of a starting point to build off of. So the first thing we're going to do is check if combat should end. And if it should, we're ending our turn. We don't want the AI to continue acting if combat should be over and somehow they started their turn. So we're just ending our turn if combat is over. Then we are setting a skill retry count, which is a local variable, an integer, to 0. You'll see why we have this in a moment. Then we're checking if they're alive and if they can act. If either of those are not true, we're ending our turn. Assuming all is good, we're going to ask them to give us our skills using the interface we covered a few videos ago. We get our array of skills. We're taking a random skill from that. We're getting a random integer and setting that as the skill we want to use, which this is another local variable, AI desired skill. And then we are taking our current actor, trying to spend MP. And we've got this check so that we're only checking the cost. We're not spending anything. We're just saying, hey, can we use this skill? And we're getting this skill here from that array, the desired skill here. I'll cover this struct when I talk about the skill system, which will probably be multiple videos because that's pretty complicated. But I'll cover this later, but we're taking the cost and the cost MP from that. If we can use that skill, we're going to go on to selecting our targets. If we cannot use that skill, we're increasing that skill retry count by 1. And if we're over a certain threshold, we are going to end our turn. We tried, we couldn't do it, guys. We're going to go home. Now, if it's not above that retry count, we're going to come over here and try again. Pick another random skill. Can we use it? No. Pick another one, pick another one, pick another one until this exceeds this threshold and we give up. Okay. So that is just a random selection, super simple AI. You can add your own logic here and make it as complicated or as simple as you want. This is, in my opinion, the simplest implementation. So if it is a skill that targets allies, this is from the AI's perspective. So their allies are going to be the troop. Their fellow comrades are the troop. And so if it does target allies, we are cycling through the position sorted troop array, which is set on the construction script, or the construct battlefield function. And we're checking each one, are you alive? Yes or no? And if they are alive, we're adding them to our list of potential targets. Now, if it doesn't target allies, that means it's targeting your party. So instead, it's going to cycle through that array, checking if they're alive, and if they are, we're adding them to our potential targets. We're just getting arrays of the actors that we can use this skill on. Then we're setting our AI desired skill to our armed skill, which is, this is a variable on the driver itself that's part of the skill framework. And then we're setting our action target, which this function is also used. The UI will call this function for the player side. So you'll notice that this function, if we go into it, it has some UI things, target reticles and command windows that the AI doesn't use, but it's just here because it is setting a skill target, which this skill : target is what the skill system actually uses. So it sets that based on the actor target. And then it triggers performing an action, which is starting that skill process, using the skill. What it's doing is it provides that skill target here. And if targeting all, in general terms, the invalid target, if the target is invalid, the implication is you're targeting all of your of the given set of targets. So for skills that target all, that are marked as true target all, it's going to provide an invalid reference on the target in here under perform action. We're going to cover that in the skill video, the perform action part, how that all works. So that's setting action target. And that is going to trigger them to actually do the thing. After that, so there is a handoff here where we're waiting now. The engine is sitting there just waiting for the actor to do their thing, because skills could take half a second. It could take 30 seconds, however long it takes for that skill to resolve. So when we go into the skill system, we'll talk more on how that's handled. But at this point, we're waiting for the skill. The next video, we're going to talk about the UI. But that does it for starting turn. We've got our action locked and ready, and we are ready to go. Hey, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Hope you have a good day.